Today I'm going to walk you through the process of completing the library scavenger hunt. So if you're a little confused about what to do, then pay attention here and I'll show you what you can do in order to answer the questions and get a 100% on the assignment. So the whole idea behind this assignment is to teach you a couple of things. One is how to use the databases that are available through the library. And number two is to recognize the information that's contained within a citation and be able to use that information to look up the source in the library database. So like I said, two things that I want you to learn from this assignment: how to use the library databases and what each bit of information in the MLA citation means and how you can use it to look up a particular source in the database. So I have the assignment here in front of me. And by the way, you can just paste your answers onto this sheet, save it to your computer, and upload it to the Dropbox. You don't have to create a separate file to record your answers. But what I have here is a list of MLA formatted citations. Following each citation is a question that can only be answered if you locate that source in the library database. At the end, there are a couple of questions that ask you to practice searching the databases, and it asks you also to narrow your results using the search limiters that are available. So hopefully by the time you've completed this assignment, you understand very well how to search the databases in the library and how to extract information about a source based on its MLA citation. Okay, if you are not aware of this already, the library's website is located as a link on the homepage. If you go to Student Resources, here's a link to the library here. Also at the very bottom of the page, there's a link to the library under Resources. Either of these will take you to the library's homepage. This is where you'll need to go first in order to find the databases that the library subscribes to. Before we do that, let's just give you a quick overview of the things you see on the library's homepage. First thing is library search right here. You can enter a search in this box to search everything, including journals and databases, including books, including other resources. It's a very broad search that goes through a lot of things, and sometimes it's good, sometimes it's not so good. So if you're having trouble finding particular sources using the search everything, then you might want to search something more specific like Academic Search Premier or the card catalog. But just keep that in mind that it is a very broad search. So if you know you're looking for a book that's in the library, for example, you can just click Library Card Catalog and it's only going to search the card catalog and not the databases. Another feature here is the Ask a Librarian Live. It'll bring up a little chat feature that you can use to talk with a librarian online if you need to. Remember that the librarians are an excellent resource for you to use. You can go to the library and have them help you locate sources. You can go to the library and have them help you cite sources. If you are not quite sure where you can find research that's related to your topic, they can help you find that as well. There's also some other things that are general library resources. One, you can book an appointment with a librarian. You can use this system called Pascal to borrow resources that are available at other libraries and pick them up in your closest library. And you'll see these links in the content module of the course, these tutorials on how to use the databases, as well as a full list of the databases that the library subscribes to. But now that you have a pretty good understanding of how to find the library's homepage and what the different resources are on the library's homepage, you're ready to start your assignment, okay? So like I said, I've got this MLA citation here. I need to find this citation in the databases in order to answer the question that's being asked about it. So if I go back to the library's homepage, I'm going to click on Academic Search Premier because all of these articles were ones that I found using Academic Search Premier. Like I said, you can use the search everything, but I don't think it's going to be very effective. It's probably best to go directly or as specifically as possible to the place where you know you're going to find what you're looking for. And in this case, it is going to be Academic Search Premier. Another thing to keep in mind is that we have the EBSCO ebook collection, and if you'll notice, the search for EBSCOhost ebooks looks very similar to the EBSCOhost Academic Search Premier database. So you want to make sure that you're in the right place. As I already said, all of these citations are through Academic Search Premier. So you're not going to find it in the ebooks. You're not going to find it in the library card catalog. You want to be searching EBSCOhost Academic Search Premier. Now once I get to the main page for Academic Search Premier, I see a search function. It's very similar to Google. I've got a box that I can put in keywords. I have ways that I can limit my search by year, by type of resource, by full text. Some of these are not going to be full text, so you want to make sure that that full text limiter is turned off. But if I were doing research and I didn't want to wait for an article to be sent to my library, I could say full text, only give me full text articles. So there's your basic search right there. We also have advanced search, and this is explained in the video tutorial that's linked in the content module, but our advanced search allows us to put in multiple words and phrases and to add more if we need. And it also allows us to specify which search fields to look for that word or phrase. So for example, in the title, in the author, etc. Okay, so let's start finding some sources. So my first one, Anderson, Eric, and Edward M. Kean. Examining media contestation of masculinity and head trauma in the National Football League. Men and Masculinities, 15.2, 2012, 152 to 173. Academic Search Premier, Web, 4 March 2015. As I said at the beginning of the video, an important thing to know when completing this assignment is what these citations are telling you, or what these references are telling you. Use your little DK handbook if you're not sure. So remember, the most important thing to know about how to cite a source correctly is what type of source you have. So by looking at the citation, you should be able to tell what type of source it is and what information that source is telling you. So let me tell you an example of what I mean. Okay? If you look at Little DK Handbook, you'll notice that the basic citation for almost any type of source is going to begin with the name of the author. And we know that by looking at this, and we can see that it's a name, but it's also important to know that most citations are going to begin with the author's name if it's available. Okay, so this is Eric Anderson and Edward Kean. That's information that I can use to search for this particular article in the database. So let me just go back to the database and try that, okay? So I know his last name is Kean. I know that this is the author, so I'm going to limit it to author. And the other author's name, Anderson. He's an author as well. Let me search and see what I get. Okay, so I've got 5 results here. Now, 5 results will probably make it easy enough to find the one that you're looking for. But let's just say for a moment that there was 100 results. Well, do you want to spend all day sifting through 100 results to find the one that I'm asking you to look up? Probably not. So there's other information here. Okay, well, we've got a title, right? Examining media contestation of masculinity and head trauma in the National Football League. Okay, I can search by title as well. I would recommend not searching by the entire title. Just take a phrase that might be relevant and search using that. But if you search the entire title, it might limit it too much. It might have some kind of hiccup in the search that doesn't bring it back. Okay, so I'm just going to take a key phrase from that title, and I'm going to say that this is the title I'm looking for. And now I just have one result, which is the results I'm looking for. Okay? So we were lucky this time. We were able to get the exact one that we were looking for by only searching the author's names and a little bit of the title. But that might not work every single time. So there are other things in this citation that I can use to limit it more. Men and Masculinities. That's the name of the journal article. Not the journal article, but the journal title. Okay? So maybe I'm going to say Men and Masculinities in the journal name. There we go. I get the same result back. Other pieces of information. 15.2, 2012. That might look like gibberish, but that tells me that it was published in 2012, and this is volume 15, issue number 2. Okay? So this is really important if I want to verify that I do in fact have the exact right one. If I click on the title, I see volume 15, issue 2. Oh, well that matches my citation, so this is another clue that I've got the right one. 152 to 173. Okay, that tells me it's on pages 152 to 173. Again, I can go back and verify that these are the correct pages and that I do have the correct results. Academic Search Premier. Now, one thing you'll notice in Little DK is that when you're using electronic databases to do research, they're going to ask you for information about the database. So all this is telling me is that I got this from the Academic Search Premier database. That's a big clue if you're trying to find a particular source, where to look, okay? We don't want to waste time looking in the card catalog if it's in Academic Search Premier. We don't want to waste time looking in the ebook collection if it's in Academic Search Premier. So this tells me exactly where I need to go to find that particular article, especially when it comes to electronic databases. This is a web source, so it's not in print, and it was retrieved last on March 4th, 2015. So there's an overview of what all that information means. There's going to be slight differences depending on the type of source that you're using, but in general, we're going to have author's name if available, name of the article, name of the publication, and publication information such as when and where it was published. Okay, so I have the article that I'm looking for. Now to prove that I found that article, I'm going to answer the question about it. So it says, according to the abstract, 2 factors are, quote, beginning to permit some prominent players to distance themselves from the self-sacrifice component of sporting masculinity. What are they? So I'm going to read over the abstract. I'm going to find this phrase that I quoted here, and I'm going to answer the question about what those 2 factors are. Okay? So back in the abstract. American football has long been central to the construction of masculinity in the United States. Of multiple masculine scripts promoting professional players' hegemonic masculine status, sacrificing one's body for the sake of sporting glory is a key tenet. I don't have to read the whole thing, but eventually I'm going to get to the quoted parts. Through a media analysis of the reporting on Aaron Rodgers' self-withdrawal after hitting his head from an important National Football League game, we argue that cultural awareness as the devastating effects of concussions in the form of chronic traumatic encephalopathy, combined with a softening of American masculinity, is beginning to permit some prominent players to distance themselves from the self-sacrifice component of sporting masculinity. All right, so there's my answer right there. These 2 things are beginning to permit some prominent players to distance themselves from the self-sacrifice component of sporting masculinity. One of them is cultural awareness of concussions and CDE, and a softening of American masculinity. And really, all I have to do is copy that phrase, go back to my assignment, paste it, and I am done with this question. So there's a lot of academic prose in here, and part of the difficult part of using journals and databases is understanding the meaning behind all that academic prose. But all that question is asking you is, what 2 things are causing that quoted thing to happen? So hopefully from this point you get the idea. The first thing you have to do is find the article in the database using the information from the citation. The second thing that you have to do is look over the abstract, and all this information comes from the abstracts, not the articles themselves. Look over the abstract, find the answer to the question in the abstract. The last two questions deal with doing your own search. So number 7, find an article published in the year and month you were born using the advanced search features. Copy and paste the citation for that article here. If I go back to my database and I do a search, well, I can limit my search to an article that was published in the month and year that I was born. Okay, so see these limiters on the side? I can say I want one that was published in November of 1980. And I'm going to say November 1980 for the beginning and the end of the search because I want that specific month. Oh, no results for global warming for November 1980? Well, maybe I can think of a different topic here. Okay, here we go. We have 15 results that were published in November 1980. So all I'm going to do is choose any one of them, go to the citation, and for some reason my citation tool doesn't want to work right now, but it should bring up citations. There we go. Citations in MLA format, APA format. We want the MLA one, which is this one. So I'm going to take it, copy, paste it as my results, and I am now done with that particular question. Quick notes. When you copy and paste citations from EBSCOhost, it's going to come up with that green background. In order to avoid having that, all you got to do is say paste plain text. Okay? Now it doesn't have the green background, and now I can format it to where it is the actual correct MLA format. There we go. Now it looks right. Number 8, conduct a search related to your topic. Narrow the results to less than 500 using the and, or, and not Boolean operators. They explain to you in more detail how to do that in those tutorial videos, so I won't go over it again. But all I'm asking you to do is conduct a search. Sometimes when I do a search, it's going to have lots and lots of results, so I need to narrow that down to 500 using those Boolean operators and, or, and not. Okay, global warming and United States. Let's see what I get. 10,000. Okay. Global warming, not effect. Since I see effect a lot, I'll take that one out. See if I get 500. Still 7,000. Global warming is a very broad topic, so we might have to do a lot of work to narrow it to 500. Global warming and let's say South Carolina. There we go. Now we're down to 31. All I want you to do is take a screenshot and show me your search. So by doing that, to do that, I'm going to hit print screen on my keyboard. There's a button that says print screen. I'm going to go back to my document and I'm going to paste. Control V is the shortcut to paste. And there's my screenshot with my search that proves that I narrowed it down using the Boolean operators. Okay, so if you know how to do one of these, then I think you'll easily be able to do all of them. But if you do have any questions, you can call or stop by during office hours, or the librarians can help you if you go and stop by the library. But please do ask questions if you do need any additional help. Remember, Little DK Handbook is a great guide, and also the video tutorials on how to use Academic Search Premier that are located in the content module are a good guide as well. But happy searching, and I look forward to hearing your feedback and questions.